This is your caught up notebook. So unit 3, I think a lot of you are missing page 29 and 30 being labeled. So that's where your unit 3 test review and your NC check and 1 review should go. And then page 31 is where you'll copy down your unit 4A vocab. If you have a printer, you can print it off, put it on 31, and then we are starting on page 32 with classifying. Curtis, can you do me a favor? Can you erase my board? Thank you, baby. Classifying and simplifying polynomials. So I know that's a lot. It's actually a lot easier than the name sounds, okay? So I'm gonna give y'all a second, let y'all copy that, and then we'll get started on 32. All right, so before we can talk about classifying and simplifying polynomials, you guys have to know what a polynomial is, right? Y'all can close your computers. You do not need them right now. So y'all close them so I can see you're with me. A polynomial is just an expression. It's just a fancy word for an expression. That's it. So do y'all remember from unit 1 what an expression is? Okay, what is it? A math sentence with, does it have an equal sign or does it not have one? Who remembers? Okay, so in unit 1, Lord, they don't remember. I'm going to talk to y'all. In unit 1, we talked about expressions versus equations. Do y'all remember which one had the equal sign? An equation. There we go. So an expression does not have an equal sign, right? So a polynomial is just another name for an expression, which means it has no equal sign. It's just the sum slash difference. I gotta work on my spelling. Of terms. So all of these are going to have different terms added or subtracted together, okay? It's a sum or difference of terms. Are there going to be any equal signs? No, good. All right, so then what we're getting into today, the word classify, what do y'all think of when you hear the word classify? What's that mean to classify something?
Figure it out.
Not figure it out, that would be like solving.
Yeah.
Not solve.
Like make it known.
Okay, make it known. I kind of like that. So let me give you an example. In foods class, you classify foods into different groups, right? Like when you're talking about nutrition, you got fruits, you got vegetables, you got carbohydrates, you got proteins. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Dairy. That, what I just did, sorting them like that, that's called classifying. So I like what Curtis said, you're making it known. You're basically giving it a name. You're sorting it. So when we classify polynomials, there's 4 different things we can name it, okay? So we're going to call this next part different types of polynomials. And anytime y'all see me write polys, I'm just abbreviating because polynomial is a very long word, so I don't typically write it all the way out. All right, y'all, so different types of polynomials. The first type of polynomial you can have is called a monomial. Monomial. I gotta work on my spelling. I probably should have done this a different color, but it's okay. Do y'all know what the word mono means? Good, who said that? Sean, extra credit. It means one. So a monomial is going to be a polynomial with how many terms? 1. Good job, y'all. So a monomial is just a polynomial that has 1 term. So let's write an example here. Somebody give me an example of a term. This goes all the way back to unit 1. The poster is flipped backwards over there because they gave the ACT in here. What's a term? Is X a term? Yes, it's a thing. Remember when we did our vocab cards for unit 1, we said a term was basically like a thing in an expression. So X would be a term. What about if I had an 8? Like just an 8. Are you sure? That's a term. It's a thing, right? What if you put them together and it said 8x? Is that a thing in a math expression? Yeah, so could that be a term? Yes, so as long as it's just one thing, it is a monomial. So let me give you examples. If it just said x, that would be a monomial. If you were just given 8, that would be a monomial. If you were given 8x, that's also a monomial because it is one term. There's no equal sign. It's an expression with one term. What if, don't write this, I'm just asking you a question. What if I wrote down, don't write it, just look. What if I wrote down x plus 8? How many terms is that? Good, 2. So that leads us into our next one. That's not a monomial. What do y'all think we call a polynomial with 2 terms? Oh my God, y'all are smart. Some of y'all looked at your vocab sheet. Good job, y'all. A binomial is a polynomial with 2 terms. Think about a bicycle. A bicycle has how many wheels? 2. So an example we just said was x plus 8, right? Let's write down another one because you could use this on your cards, okay? So this is exactly why I said I wasn't going over the words today because y'all haven't learned what they mean. So you can use your notes to start your cards if you wanted. Curtis, pick a number and a letter. Quickly. 16. C. Josh, pick another number and letter. 16c squared minus 7a. Do y'all agree that is 2 terms? So remember, terms are separated by your operators. So you're just counting how many things are being added or subtracted. It's just 2 here, so that makes it a binomial. Does that make sense? Okay, what do you think we call it when it has 3 terms? There we go, a trinomial. Trinomial. Trinomial just has 3 terms. Anybody want to try and give me an example for extra credit? Skylar, you got it, girl. What you got? 3 things added or subtracted together. Okay, I'm going to add on to what you said. I made the 3x squared. 3x squared plus 6x plus 8. Does everybody agree that is 1, 2, 3 things being added together? Yeah, so that's a trinomial. It's a polynomial, but specifically it's a trinomial. Y'all okay with that? All right. So really quick, don't write this. I do want to talk about what she said to start with though. 3x plus 6x plus 8. Don't write it. Let's just look at it. This is actually what we're getting into today. Is that simplified? What can you combine? The x's, what's 3x plus 6x? 9x plus 8. So that's what I mean after I say classifying. We're also going to be simplifying today. So that's why I made it squared, Skyla, so that it would actually be 3 terms. Because this simplified is actually only 2 terms, which means it's a, 2 terms. Binomial, very good. Does that make sense? Are y'all sure? Sean, you're good? All right. You can put bi, yep, on your homework or classwork or anything you take from me, you can abbreviate and put bi, tri, mono, that's fine. So then, this is where I'm going to get a little corny so I can help y'all remember it. You ready? Okay, think about a car. Legally, how many people can fit inside of a small car? 5 legally. There are 5 seat belts. You're not wearing a seat belt or you crammed in the trunk. First of all, you might be getting kidnapped. You might need to bust the taillights out, all right? But if you're not wearing a seatbelt, that's illegal. So legally, 5 people fit in a car, right? All right, think about me and my husband. That's 2 of us. If we have 3 kids, can we all fit in the car? What happens when we have a 4th kid? We got to get a van. We got to get something bigger. 4 kids, 5 kids, 6, that's crazy. You'd have to get something bigger, right? So as soon as you get bigger than 3 terms, get bigger than 3 kids, you need a bigger car. So anything bigger than 3 terms, we don't keep naming them. We just call that a straight polynomial. And the word poly actually means many. So if I give you something with 4 terms or 5 terms, you're just going to tell me that's a polynomial. And by many terms, I mean more than 3. Does that help? Yeah? Okay. People at home, are y'all okay?
Yes.
All right, y'all. So then there's one other thing we have to look at when we're classifying a polynomial. So you always look at the number of terms, but then you also always look at the biggest term. Did everybody hear me say that? Yes, y'all heard me? Fantastic. So let's talk about this next thing. It's called degree. So I'm going to break it down for y'all and get a little corny again, just so y'all can remember it. If you asked Miss Poole, are y'all good with me talking while you're writing or no? Okay, I'm trying to make up for lost time because our technology was being stupid. If you ask Miss Poole where her degree is from, who knows the answer to that? Oh, extra credit, you 3, ECU. Now, where else did I graduate from? No, Mount Olive. I went to ECU, baby. That's the only place I went. He's thinking about another teacher. Huh? Yeah, it's up there. But where else did I go to school?
Oh, here.
Here! South Central. Where else did I go to school? AG Cox. They still do that stupid crap at pep rallies. Fantastic, because it was weird anyways. They used to be like stomping in the bleachers and stepping. I was like, all right. Where else did I go to school? W.H. Robinson. We have roaches. Now, when I asked y'all when I asked you where my degree was from, why did y'all say ECU? It's the last one. It's the biggest. Because I said degree, that is the highest level of education I've had. So when you say degree of a polynomial, it's the highest, biggest term you have. Does that make sense? Okay. So degree is the highest term of a polynomial. Y'all got into that. I like that. Highest term of a poly. Remember, I'm going to abbreviate. And to find that biggest term, you're going to look at the exponent. So the highest term of a polynomial is just the biggest exponent. So I'm going to give y'all a second to get caught up and copy. All right, so do we feel like if I gave y'all a polynomial, y'all could tell me the biggest exponent and how many terms it had? Do we feel like we could do that? All right, so then the only other thing we need to talk about, because we're about to do examples just like that, I got to make sure, because my kids last semester, we didn't take notes on this, and then they didn't know how to do it, but I thought they did. I feel like y'all should. You should have learned it in middle school, but that's okay. Do y'all know how to put something in standard form? Oh my God. No. I'm not talking about the ones, the tens, the hundreds. No, that's like elementary school mess. I'm talking about with a polynomial. Look at these polynomials. Is 3x squared plus 6x plus 8 in standard form? Do y'all know? Oh, yes. Good. It is in standard form. Gwyneth said it's in descending order, the biggest to the smallest. Did y'all learn that? Okay, if you didn't, let's write it. My kids last semester didn't either. Standard form is just putting a polynomial in order from biggest term to smallest. And then we'll do examples because I feel like y'all are good. And then we got to talk about simplifying, but that should not take long. Since we had tech issues, I will go shorten y'all's assignment for today too. All right, so we're going to do a couple examples where I'm going to ask you to classify it, which means you give it a name. You tell me what it is, like Curtis said, based on the number of terms and the biggest exponent. And then we're also going to talk about if it's in standard form. And if it's not, we're going to put it in standard form. Okay? Does that sound good? All right, so example 1. Let's do 7a squared minus 2a plus 3a cubed. My girls at home, y'all unmute and participate too, so y'all can get y'all's extra credit. So 7a squared minus 2a plus 3a cubed. Are y'all okay if we classify it first? Yes? All right, how many terms does this example have? 3, so what do we call it? Oh, y'all are smart. Trinomial. My girls at home, do y'all agree?
Yep.
All right, that is a trinomial. It has 3 completely different terms. Now, which term is the biggest? Before y'all keep saying wrong stuff, you might want to go back and look at what degree meant. Highest term, which means you look for the biggest what?
Oh, 3.
Oh, okay. They were saying 7a squared. This is a perfect teaching opportunity. Everybody look, the degree is based on the biggest exponent, not the number out front. Find the biggest exponent. So everybody look, what's the biggest exponent? 3a cubed. What is the exponent?
3.
So the degree equals 3 because 3 is the exponent. It's the biggest exponent. If it doesn't have an exponent, it's always an understood 1. There you go. All right, so y'all look at this. Last question. Is this in standard form? Is it biggest term to smallest term? It's not. Good. What's the biggest term? How would we need to rewrite this? Ooh, 3a cubed, I heard. Curtis, stop. What would come next? Plus 7a squared, because that's the next biggest, because it's a 2, right? And what would go on the back? Minus 2a. Yeah, good job, y'all. That's how you would put it in standard form. It should be pretty easy. You were supposed to learn it in 8th grade, but I know a lot of y'all went virtual, so that's okay. So you guys are trying example 2. So you're going to name it, classify it, tell me the degree, and then you're going to put it in standard form if it's not already in standard form. Move it so everybody can see. So all you're doing, I need you to classify it, tell me what kind of polynomial it is, tell me the degree, and then you're going to put it in standard form. All right. How many terms does this polynomial have?
More than 3.
Okay, they said 4, and then a bunch of them said more than 3. Can we all fit in the car? No. So it's a...
Polynomial.
Oh, that boy sounded crazy. Polynomial. My girls at home, are y'all okay? I can't hear y'all. Oh, Jasmine is good. All right. What's the biggest exponent?
4.
There,
7x to the 4th.
x to the 4th, but the exponent is a 4. So you say the degree is 4. Good job. They're excited. They were like, we getting it right. This is the first half of your homework.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, he said that's wonderful. All right, now, it is not in standard form because it is not biggest to smallest. So can y'all tell me how to write this in standard form? Oh, Josh, go for it, baby. Y'all, Josh, hang on. Josh raised his hand all nicely and y'all started screaming. It's okay. Go ahead, Josh. To the 4th. Uh-huh. That's a 4, baby. Oh, it's okay. Plus 5x squared plus 4x minus 1. But I love that all of y'all were ready to do that. Everybody else said, we got it. They said 7x to the 4. They started yelling. Are y'all good? Okay, do we feel like we can classify and we can put it in standard form on the homework? That's the first half. All right, so the only thing we got left to do then is talk about how we would simplify them. Sound good? All right, it's not hard. You already know how to do it. I guarantee you. I guarantee you already know how to do it. So we're going to talk about how we would simplify polynomials. Y'all are doing so good. We should be done. I'd say give me 10 more minutes, maybe 15, but then y'all will have almost 20 minutes of homework time. I told Skylar it was a short lesson today. I got to keep my word. All right, simplifying polynomials. So really quick, let's review. A polynomial is just an expression, right? And an expression we wrote on the front was a sum or difference. So what does that mean I'm going to be doing in each of these? Adding or subtracting. Very good. So y'all, to add or subtract polynomials, here are your steps. There's only 3 of them. It's really not. I really think a lot of you learned this in middle school or you've seen it. I know some of y'all didn't have the best middle school teachers. It's okay. I got you.
I did. COVID came and
Yeah.
I had to go home.
And some of y'all didn't do your work.
I did sometimes.
Jay said nope. Jay, who was your 8th grade teacher? Oh yeah, I've heard she's okay.
Who?
Distribute.
Central. Oh, Central.
All right, y'all. Step 1, you're going to distribute first when needed. Did I say distribute first all the time? No, if there's nothing to distribute, please don't go distributing something when there's nothing there. I did not say you will always distribute first. It says distribute first when needed. So just to give y'all an example, do y'all remember in Unit 1 when we would be given something like this? And you had to distribute the 2 first, right? That's when you would distribute. If all it says is x plus 3, what the heck are you going to distribute? Y'all are laughing, but my kids last semester were distributing all kinds of crazy mess. Like they would just pick something in their head, and I was like, what are y'all doing? If there's nothing to distribute, you do not distribute. Once you distribute, you're going to combine like terms. I feel like y'all know what that means from middle school. Can x's go with x's? Yes. Let me give you another example. Can you put an x squared with an x? No. So I know x and x are the same. Let me write it for y'all. You do not have to write this. I'm just showing y'all. I want you to look. So x, they both have an x. I do agree. So think about dogs. That's like this one being a Rottweiler and this one being a Chihuahua. Would you ever put those 2 types of dogs together?
No.
That's asking for trouble. If the exponents are different, they are not exactly the same. Do y'all agree? They got to be exactly the same to go together. So these are not like terms, okay? So step 2, you're going to combine like terms. And then step 3 is to write the polynomial in standard form. Those are your only 3 steps. I'm going to pause so y'all can finish getting that down. We're going to be simplifying. So we're going to distribute if we need to, then we're going to combine like terms, and then we're going to write it in standard form. So here's example 1. I want you to simplify this polynomial. It isn't bad, so don't start doing some huffing and puffing and crazy mess. So I was expecting it. Nah, I would do it.
Oh, sorry.
All right, do y'all see anything that we need to distribute? When I tell you my kids last semester were doing crazy stuff, I mean, they were trying to like distribute this 7. What? No. We are taking this, what kind of polynomial is this? This trinomial, good, and all they're asking you to do is add it to this trinomial. All you're doing is adding them. There's nothing to distribute. Please don't do anything crazy. All right? So if I'm just trying to add these 2, then there's nothing to distribute. I'm already on step 2. We're just going to combine the like terms. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. First way to do it, you can line them up. So I'm going to show you 2 ways. Here's the first way. I want you to watch both, and then you can tell me which way you like better, okay? And you can do it that way. No, watch, and then write whichever way makes sense to you. So don't write them both unless you want to. The first way, you can do 5x squared minus 2x plus 7, and then line up the other one underneath it, negative 8x squared plus 3x minus 1. Do y'all see how my x squareds are lined up with the x squareds? My x's are lined up with the x's, and my constants, my plain numbers, are lined up with each other too, right? So the first way is to line them up, and you can add them vertically. I don't always have a lot of kids that like it this way, but some people who need help organizing their work, this is the way they like it, okay? And y'all know I like to show you 2 ways. So there's the first way. Don't write it unless you think that's the way you're going to like. The second way is to go through and just add the combined like terms. So let me show you what I mean. What is 5x squared? What can I combine that with in this one? Negative 8x squared. So y'all look, what is 5x squared plus negative 8x squared? What's 5 plus negative 8? Negative 3. And Sean, how many x's did they have? X squared. I added them together. 5x squared plus a negative 8x squared. Remember, if the signs are different, you're actually subtracting. So 5 take away 8 is 3, and it's negative. All right, then look, we're going to keep going. What is negative 2x plus 3x? Oh, we got to work on y'all's minute. Come on now. I had y'all good to go in unit 1, and y'all just done forgot it. Different signs. So you subtract them. What's 3 take away 2? 1 plus 1x. And then what's the last 2 things we can combine together? Good. What does positive 7 with a negative 1 make? Good. 7 minus 1 is 6. So this should be our answer right here. I'm going to highlight it for y'all. That's the second way you can do it, is you can just go through and combine like terms by circling, underlining, highlighting, color coding, whatever you want to do. You could use both ways and use it to check yourself. Now, let me show you number 1. If you actually added it, you would get the same thing. So everybody look, if you do 5x squared plus negative 8x squared, that is still negative 3x squared. If you do negative 2x plus 3x, that is positive 1x. Thank you. And if you do positive 7 plus a negative 1, that is still a positive 6. Do y'all see how I got the same thing no matter which way I did it? So do you think I care which way you do it? It does not matter to me. Pick what makes sense in your brain. Some of y'all will be better off to line them up. Some of y'all will be fine just circling and underlining the things that can go together. Are y'all okay with that one? What's up, sweetie? I was adding. Where do you see that I didn't add? Let me pause. I love it when y'all ask stuff that leads me right into the next example. So listen, this is going to lead into the next example. When you are adding with a negative number, that's the same as subtracting. So everybody look. Here's example 2. Trying to pick a good one. Y'all write down example 2 and then we'll do it together. All right, I'm gonna remind us of our steps. Distribute first when needed, then combine, and then write it in standard form. So let's look. Is there anything in this one to distribute? Are you sure? Let me take you on a field trip down memory lane. Everybody look, in unit 1, we did problems like this. You don't have to write this, I just want you to watch. When we did problems like this and we were trying to solve, does anybody remember what we had to do with that negative? I couldn't hear you. What did you say? Yes. If you have a negative touching parentheses, that's an understood what? Yes. Everybody look, listen. If you have a minus sign touching parentheses, that means we're multiplying everything in those parentheses by a -1. You do have something to distribute here. If you are subtracting, you are gonna have to distribute a -1 before you can combine like terms. So I need to write that in words for anybody. When you're adding, you don't gotta distribute. If you're subtracting, you've got to take that -1 into everything in the parentheses it's touching. So this minus sign touching the parentheses, you've got to distribute the negative. Do y'all remember doing that in unit 1? Some of y'all are like, nope, I didn't do my work in unit 1. Okay, all right. When you add, you do not have to distribute. Because look at this. Let's talk about it because my kids last semester messed this up. What's understood right here? A +1. If I multiply something by +1, is it going to change? No. So, I mean, you could, but that's extra work. You don't need to distribute a +1 if it's adding. There's nothing to distribute up here. Now, down here, what happens when you multiply something by -1? Something changes. What changes? Yeah, the signs will change. So the numbers won't change, but the signs will because we're multiplying by negative. So I want y'all to watch this. Are we doing anything to the first part? No, bring it down. And once you bring it down, you don't need the parentheses anymore. So I'm going to bring down those numbers. Skylar, make sure you're with me, boo. You're going to want to watch this next part before you do what my kids last semester did. Listen very carefully. When you distribute the negative, you are no longer subtracting. Did everybody hear me say that? Once you distribute that negative, now we're just combining like terms. We're going to write whatever sign it says we're supposed to have when we multiply. Curtis, does that make sense? You better make sure you're with me writing. You didn't have no pencil in your hand. You on your phone. Boy thought he's sneaky. He put the phone up real quick. He ain't sneaky. All right, listen, because you ain't being sneaky. You got caught. When you distribute the -1, we're no longer subtracting. This is us getting rid of the subtraction sign. So watch. What is -1 times 3x cubed? -3x cubed. Good job, Kiara. So you literally write after the first one minus 3x cubed because it's -3x cubed. The parentheses, once you distribute, they go away. Good question. What is -1 times 3x? -3x, so you're going to write minus 3x. But now look at what happens here. What's -1 times negative 6? Positive 6. If you write minus 6, it's going to mess the whole thing up. That is plus 6. I did not bring down the subtraction sign. That's not what I did before somebody does that. Do not bring that down. That is wrong. You distribute it. So after you multiplied, I did get that this first one was negative, so that's why that says minus. I got the second one, Gwyneth, was negative, so that's why that one says minus. The third one was positive, so that's why it says plus. Does that make sense? Now from here, would y'all like me to line them up, or are y'all okay if we go through and circle and underline and stuff? Circle and underline, are y'all okay? Josh, you good if I circle and underline, babe? All right. What should go, and I'm going to see if y'all can do this the way I do it. Can we go biggest to smallest so that we're also putting it in standard form? Does that work for y'all? Okay, what's the biggest term you see? Good job, girls. They said negative 3x cubed, my people at home. Do y'all see anything we can combine that with? Do you see any other x cubes?
5x.
Yeah. I don't see any other 3x cubes. Like x cubes, I don't see anymore. So negative 3x cubed is going to go in the front. Carter, you okay, babe? Okay. If you got a question, ask me. What's the next biggest exponent y'all see? Yeah, so 5x squared should come next. But before we do that, do y'all see any other x squareds we could put it with? No, and that's okay if you don't see them. If you don't see them, y'all, you just bring it down. It's plus 5x squared. What do y'all see we could combine next? Ooh, yes, smart children. Positive 8x and a negative 3x. What's 8 minus 3? Positive 5x. So those we could combine. Is everybody okay so far? And then y'all said, I heard people in class, they said we're left with negative 1 and a positive 6. What's negative 1 plus 6? Plus 5. Dang, everything had a 5, but that one thing out front. So this would be your simplified answer. So I'm going to pause and see what questions we have because some of y'all look confused. And it's too bad. How did I get negative 1 right here? I just brought this down. We didn't. Right here. So anytime you're subtracting, remember if there's a negative outside of parentheses, it's an understood minus 1. So you got to distribute. That's a great question. Extra credit. What kind of polynomial was our answer? A polynomial. What's the degree? 3. Look at them smart children, but that's okay. We'll do it again. All right, last one. I'm going to see if y'all are ready. I think you will be, I hope. Curtis, you better be with me. You were doing so good. Last one, kiddos. What is my first step? Distribute. I see a couple things we got to distribute. So y'all talk to me. Oh, that boy said the 2. I agree. Yes, and everybody look, that is a negative 3. So you have to distribute this 2 to the first parentheses. And I'm actually going to split these up and color code them for y'all. And then the negative 3 needs to get distributed in the second one. Are y'all okay with that? Okay, because we got to distribute them because the numbers are touching the parentheses, so they're multiplying. So what is 2 times x squared? 2. That boy said 2x squared. What is 2 times 4x? Plus 8x. Remember, you're multiplying. What's 2 times negative 5? Jay, are you with me, baby? You quit participating. You better get your extra credit. Everybody okay with the first parentheses? All right, we're just simplifying. What's negative 3 times 2x? Good, Kiara's killing the game. Minus 6x. What's negative 3 times a negative x squared? Plus 3x squared. Remember, this is like an understood minus 1. So -3 times -1 is +3, right? And then x squared. Now what's your second and third steps? Combine and put in standard form. Are y'all okay if I do those at the same time again? So we're going to start combining, but we want to do the biggest ones first so we can put them in the front and then work our way back. Okay? So what's the biggest terms you see? 3x squared and what's 2x squared plus 3x squared? Good job. 5x squared. Y'all are so smart. This is why I don't like it when people say kids aren't good at math, because y'all are. Some of y'all think you are. You're doing awesome today. Maybe it's because you can see. What's 8x minus 6x? Plus 2x. I agree. And what are we left with on the end? The -10. Do we have any questions on simplifying? It's not bad. I don't think it's bad. Y'all have done this in Unit 1. All right, Tyree, you ready? Extra credit. What kind of polynomial is that? Tyree, not everybody else. What'd you say? Trinomial. Carter, can you tell me the degree? Extra credit. Biggest exponent. 2. Good job. Everybody agrees it's a trinomial degree 2, right? All right. Any questions before you go do your delta math?